There were a lot of new trailers that came out recently, but the thing that surprised me was how little I had to say about almost any of them. Don't get me wrong, there were still some encouraging things in the Avengers trailers, but they've mainly been sticking to releasing short scenes from that film, which include mostly action, which is like announcing a new candy bar and only releasing the information that it contains sugar. As for the new Star Wars trailer, which has apparently been regarded as some sort of god descending from on high and announcing that all pain in the world will be replaced with orgasms, I found myself so disinterested in it that when my friends asked me, "So be honest, how many times have you seen the new Star Wars trailer?" and I responded with a confused and deadpan once, they all looked at me as if I had only bought 2 Wonka bars while there was some sort of contest going on. I mean, Luke Skywalker says a few awkward lines that sound like they were written for the trailer rather than a film, and then we get a bit with Han Solo and Chewie in the end. I mean, I say a bit, but it was more like splicing a split second's worth of porn into a reel at a dentist convention. I know the world was ready to jizz its collective pants upon seeing Harrison Ford standing there for all than less than a second, but it did fuck all for me. I already knew Harrison Ford was going to be in this one, so the only thing seeing him achieved was confirmation of that years-old news, as well as making me question why Han Solo never got himself a new change of clothes in the last 40 years. So you can imagine my surprise when Batman vs. fucking Superman was the most interesting trailer I saw, as this was the project that I was interested in the least. With a name like Batman vs. Superman, I was quite naturally expecting something shallow. Oh, I'm sorry, Batman v Superman, which makes it sound like they're gonna slug it out in court. But everything we hear in the trailer, and most of what we see, seem to be conveying ideas rather than simply showing a spectacle. There is a back and forth of viewpoints on whether Superman is good for humanity or not, and then we have a shot of a Superman statue with the words "False God" written on the emblem, and Warner Brothers, you now have my attention. This is what we call an idea. We have this one half of the population basically seeing Superman as a god and giving him all of Earth's responsibilities, but then you have this other half that seems to be saying, you know, maybe giving free rein to something this powerful and unstoppable isn't a good idea. Maybe that's an incredibly crazy suicidal idea, and maybe we should figure out how to get rid of him if we need to. Remember in my Superman Returns review when I said that they should have been booing him when he came back because it's something we've never seen that character face before? Well, I get the impression that that dream is going to become a reality for me in this film. And I like how Lex Luthor seems to be running a propaganda machine against Superman, using lies and half-truths to make the very stupid in our culture really angry and scared so they'll do whatever he wants, like a one-man RNC. Luthor has always been a villain whose greatest weapons are his intellect and other people, and this seems in keeping with that character. And of course we get our first look at Ben Affleck as Batman. And you know, something interesting happened here. When his face came up, I only saw him as Ben Affleck. But then as the shot zoomed in, I really didn't anymore. Even just sitting there staring at the suit, he seemed to be in character. I also really like the new suit. It looks a tad over-designed, to be honest, but I mean, just look at that. This thing just looks pissed off. You know me, I love me some Christopher Nolan Batman films. Even the bad one can be enjoyed for its completely unintentional comedy through and through. But I also think there is room in the world for many interpretations of Batman. Hell, I still like the campy 1960s Batman. But I would be less than candid if I didn't say that I was somewhat indifferent to the Batman character himself in the Nolan films. The story built around him was outstanding, but the character was always somewhat meh to me. I had a conversation with Stand-In Stan about the trailer, and he remarked that after the Christopher Nolan films that he didn't care for very much, it was nice to see an intimidating Batman again. Someone who all he has to do is walk out from behind a thing and you're already crapping your pants, rather than shouting "Where's the trigger" at you in a voice like he's gargling rocks. And I think there's some truth to that. There have been incarnations of Batman before the Nolan films, there will be interpretations after them, and I'm actually quite looking forward to this one. The trailer didn't give much indication of where Batman fits into the story, though. Maybe it'll be one of those "someone needs to stop this guy and that someone will be me," Which would be interesting, I suppose, because Batman and Superman have always had an interesting relationship, in that they work well together, but they don't really like each other very much. Batman sees Superman as a pile of dumb muscle and a Boy Scout who punches before he thinks and does more damage than good as a result, and Superman sees Batman as an ends-justify-the-means vigilante who has no compassion for the people he saves and uses the I don't kill excuse to do every horrible thing but kill in order to accomplish his goals. The interesting thing is, they're both kind of right, so if they go for that angle in the film, they could really have something here. And they seem to be going for a more comic book feel this time around, rather than a gritty, ultra-realistic look, which is probably smart, because I never thought the make this as realistic and down-to-earth as possible strategy was a good fit for Superman. It works for Batman because he's the most down-to-earth superhero you can name, but Superman is so outlandish that it just comes across as dumb. I don't remember Man of Steel very well, to be honest, apart from the memory of strongly disliking it, but I do remember that I had a problem with the use of the term Phantom Zone and things of that sort. Well, something interesting happened to me over my weekend. I sat down and read the Superman comic Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and in that comic they were using terms like Phantom Zone all the time, and it didn't bother me in the slightest. Because when you do that in a comic book setting, it comes across in the right context. In the real world, it just sounds like a 6-year-old making up words. Of course, that could just be my undying hope. The scenes looked so dark in this at times that I could barely make out what was going on through most of it the first time around, so I guess we'll just have to see. In any case, Sony learned the hard way that you don't try to storm the gates of Mordor with just Gimli and Gandalf. You need an army, or at the very least, a film that is above just okay, with the promise of 10 more okay projects in the next 5 years. And just 2 weeks ago, I was ready to say that Warner Brothers is likely wasting their time trying to put together something that can take Marvel on head on. But after seeing this trailer, I think I might have been wrong. I still don't think they're going to climb the Marvel hill and kick Marvel off the top of it, but can they at least compete? If they deliver on what they're promising in this trailer, they just might. But of course, it's just a trailer, and Lord knows we've all been burned by those before, but it's at least encouraging stuff so far. We'll just see where they go from here.